All right, we'll be now back in open session. We are going to make a slight juggle on the agenda. We're going to take for our special presentation, move up before citizens' comments. So we're going to start with special presentations, retirements of Lieutenant Bree.
So today the city actually had the opportunity and pleasure of retiring a member of the police force. She was commissioned by former Mayor Lou Hardman, and she was decommissioned today by current Mayor Jerry Brown. A little emotional, has been a great partner, not only to her handler, but as well to the city and other agencies that have requested that. So with no further ado, I would like to introduce everybody to K9 Bree and her handler Josh Hazel. If you will come forward.
Step back, John.
I am going to. I
You don't want to pet her.
No.
She's got an attitude.
So in a presentation earlier this year, the city and our safety meeting had the opportunity to meet our K9 units within the city. We have two. One is the other is Bailey, and the handler is Corey back there. Bree gave a demonstration today. You see she's eyeing me. The day we were there, I put on the bike suit. Probably shouldn't say this, the insurance company's probably watching, but I said, I want them to watch your guys' dog in action. She's an employee. So we start the police chase. I bail out at Chief's car, and Josh brings Bree out. And I take off running. Didn't make it very far. Didn't make it very far, Bree had me down. But I will say this. This dog, I know, has been a great partner to Hazel and a great asset to our police department. And in my opinion, has set our department much higher than other departments or other agencies within the county or region. She's been called on by many agencies for her services. I would like to give an opportunity for Mayor Brown or anybody else to speak. I would also like to say to the people here, you can see we have a video. I want you guys to watch the video. This happened at 2 o'clock today. This is a decommissioned service for Lieutenant Bree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All Waynesville units, please stand by for one broadcast. Waynesville PD to all units, it is with great pride that I issue Lieutenant K9 Bree for Final 42. For the last 8 years, 9 months, and 3 days, Bree has diligently served this department and our community in the daily tasks of her partner, Sergeant Josh Hazel. She has been an essential role in the county's enforcement efforts through multiple agencies assist, drug task force aid,
You know, those who were here this afternoon can really realize the emotion that Sergeant Hazel has with his animal. And I, quite frankly, tell you that everybody should know, and I'm sure they do for the last 20 years I've been here, I've been a big supporter of the police department. I'm glad that we have such a great canine operation, and Corey's going to be carrying on that tradition. So again, I thank Josh, Bree, Bailey, and all the police department for everything they've done. So I'm proud to say that I know these guys.
Thank you.
I can tell you from personal knowledge that she has taken so much drugs off these streets that you would not believe. Just think of how many lives that her and Josh has saved just in our community. Not counting state used them a lot. I mean, you couldn't count how many lives they probably saved. And she's earned her retirement. I'm proud to see her retire. Always been proud of her. Always been proud of the job she did. And looking forward to what Corey does with his. You can't do the job as a law enforcement officer without a canine. There's no way.
And I'll echo that. I know Corey's going to do a good job. I know for me, day one of the academy, they ask you your goals, aspirations. Mine was to be a canine handler. So it's a dream come true. And I appreciate you guys letting me do that. And we've set the bar real high, and for the city and for the state, and we're going to continue it, and Corey's going to continue to raise the bar, and we appreciate your guys' support.
You two have made us proud.
Josh, outside of me, would you introduce your other two favorite supporters back there?
Oh yeah, we got Tara. This is my fiance Tara, and her mom Kathy. They both definitely have been a big part of it, especially Tara. She puts up with me and her, and I've been for the last year we've been training Bailey, and she lets me free every Sunday, and we go train. And I won't say she doesn't complain about it, but she rarely complains about it. So no, it's they're a big part of it. They're just as big a part of it as anyone. So
Thank you, Josh.
Thank
And thank you, officers. Oh,
Many years ago, I was a part of starting the canine program for Waynesville. Never expected Josh to take it where he did. So from a prior handler that knows what that bond is and the effort and the time it takes, I wanted to thank you. And Corey is a part of this. He went ahead and we got together and did this for him. So
it's awesome.
it says, in recognition of your dedicated service to the city of Waynesville, Pulaski County, Waynesville Police Department, surrounding agencies, and to your handler, Josh Hazel, thank you, Canine Bree, 721, April 17, 2014 to January 19, 2023. And we left the spot open there for a picture from today from our final day.
Perfect. I thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Sissy butt. Bree Bree. Hi, Mama. Okay.
And Doc, for all those that may hear about this but didn't get to watch it live, we will post that video on our Facebook page and website as well for viewing of the decommissioning
I
of it.
wanted to also thank, if I haven't already, all the people that did show up this afternoon. It was cold and windy out there.
And there was a lot
And
of
we
people.
appreciate them showing. In fact, we didn't have any cake left, did we?
No.
I was trying to give it all away. All right. Citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens' comments this evening? Boards and commissions. Park Board.
Our last meeting was last Thursday, call to order, a little after 6. Our Parks Department are in their maintenance season now, repairing and maintaining all of their equipment. There are 14 new sites at the RV park. January 29th, there will be 29 volunteers from the military to help clean up around the Ruby Bridge, preparing for the 100th anniversary of the bridge on April 1st. Value Park, the horseshoe pits that they removed as they were considered a safety hazard. We are working on naming a few of the pavilions at Riverview Park. We've narrowed down the names now, so we should have that soon. And then we will make up a picture of what we want it to look like and take it to WCC. We'll get that. We voted to recommend to the city administrators some proposals to get baseball benches and a little bit of a layout for them. Our next scheduled meeting is January 9th at 6 o'clock. We adjourn at 7:12 p.m.
Any questions for Mr. Maletti? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for showing up tonight.
Downtown, Randy.
Planning and zoning, we did not have any meeting for planning and zoning, so no report. Standing committees, utility committee. Mr. Conley?
Utility, before somebody hollers at me. Utility committee met on January the 3rd at 3:30. The entire committee was there along with city staff. And we had Randy Brown, Keith Pritchard, Mark and Caleb Rowden, Brent Sharp, and Darrell Marino were also with us. Called to order at 3:30. We had a comment by Brent Sharp, who resides on Sally Road, which is outside the city. And he was concerned that the house that he had been renting or leased inside the city was vacant, and he was still being billed for trash. And the city ordinance indicates that he should have to pay, even if the house is vacant, unless he can prove to the satisfaction of the city administrator that no trash was generated. And the city administrator is going to be in contact with the water district to see if there's any water usage and make a decision, which I don't know what the decision was at this point. He also complained about the condition of his road, which we pointed out to him was not in the city, and therefore there's nothing the city could do about it. At that point, we approved the minutes, and Sean pointed out to me that I had omitted the Rowden's input as citizens. The Rowdens were concerned with the effect that the suspension of the SIP program would have on their development. After that, we went into the discussion of suspending the subdivision improvement program. And we've decided not to accept any more subdivisions at this time. We don't want to be in the point of having subdivisions have to wait 2 years to get approval. So we're temporarily suspending it, and we'll look at the financial side of it in 6 months or so in the spring. We decided we needed to update the payment policies, the utility billing policies, on what would happen if people didn't pay their bills and were disconnected, the way the system would work. We have a proposed ordinance that we will bring to you hopefully next month, outlining those new policies. Natural gas update, Mr. Lopez stated that the National Gas Department had installed 4 new services and assisted certifying employees for the city of Richland, and found and repaired a 4-inch main leak. And they also installed 58 services and 6,000 feet of pipe. That was in the year, not 1 month. Electric department, Mr. Sheldon gave us both November and December's reports. He provided a yearly report, which included 48 power outages, 6 street lights, 29 trees, 75 miscellaneous, 52 new services, 5 net metering, 3 meter tests, 13 service upgrades, and fixed 4 yards for a total of 295. We had no further business. We adjourned at 4:50. Next meeting, February 7th, 3:30.
Any questions, Mr. Conley?
And we do have an ordinance.
We have a resolution 1-23.
A resolution suspending the subdivision improvement program.
Do I have a motion to accept this resolution? Mr. Conley, and a second, Mr. Farnman down there. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Passes. Economic development.
Yes, the Economic Development and Governmental Affairs meeting came to order at 5 p.m. on January 3rd. There were no citizens' comments. We did have some guests, Brent Lowe, Keith Pritchard, Randy Brown, and Brian Hazelwood. We approved the minutes from the November 1st, 2022 meeting. We discussed the business spotlight of the month for January, which is Fuentes Home Improvement Services, which, by the way, is a home-based business, and home-based businesses are approved for the business spotlight. We discussed Hogs and Frogs Committee. The committee started meeting again and will provide updates throughout the year. We went on to discuss the Wall That Heals update, and that's a Vietnam Veterans Memorial replica wall that travels around. We were hoping to get it in this year, but it's not going to happen. There's no scheduled dates for it for us. So looking at 2024 for that, there's a cost of $11,000. We're hoping that local donations are going to pay for that. We also discussed the 100th anniversary Ruby Bridge meeting. It's going to meet Monday, the 23rd at 5:30 p.m. at City Hall. Welcome to come out for that. We discussed some special events. That, again, is the April 1st, the 100th anniversary Ruby Bridge. And if it rains that day or something's bad, it's going to be April 15th. There was a need for closed session. The committee entered closed session at 5:08 p.m. We returned from closed session at 6:32 p.m. Having no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 6:32 p.m. The next scheduled meeting will be February 7th at 5 p.m.
Any questions? Moving on, roads and grounds.
Roads and Grounds Committee met on January 5th at 5 p.m. We have full quorum, 2 guests, Mr. Randy Brown and Mr. Keith Pritchard, plus the media, Darrell Marine. No citizens' comments from anybody. The approval of the minutes were made and passed. We went right into project updates. Mr. Doyle stated the speed trailer will be set up at the Summit in Sweetburg during January and Long Drive on Collier Streets in February. Maps were provided to the committee to show the targeted locations. Our street supervisor, Jason Chapman, gave us an update, stated Mesa and La Vista were paved. The street department hauled rock out of Dyer Bridge area
the farmer's market RV park, Patched Oak Street, Valley Road, Hall Drive, North Basin, Majestic, and Birch Street. They attended an asphalt conference for 2 days at Rolla, and then they hauled dirt from the cemetery, plowed snow in the storm. They've had to send the trucks off for repair. Our meeting was very short, it only lasted 10 minutes. We had no further business, so we adjourned at 5:10 p.m. Next meeting is scheduled February 2nd at 5 p.m. here at City Hall.
Any other questions for Mr. Farnum?
We do have two, we've got a
Resolution and ordinance, yes. Resolution 02-23.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute grant documents for the recreational trails program.
Do I have a motion to accept this resolution? Mr. Conley. I have a second. Mr. Wilson. Why not? Any discussion? All in favor? We do have an ordinance 2023-02.
First reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or the city administrator to enter into a service agreement with Benton and Associates Incorporated for engineering services pertaining to the Transportation Alternative Program grant, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into a service agreement with Benton and Associates Incorporated for engineering services pertaining to the Transportation Alternative Program grant, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion to accept this ordinance? Ms. Corn. Second, please. Mr. Farnum. Any discussion? John?
Just this is the grant, sidewalk grant that we had received last year, TAP grant, which will be putting sidewalks along Route 66 from near Morgan Street on the west side east to the Ruby Doo Bridge. We had to procure an engineering firm for those services, design and engineering services, sent out an RFQ and received one return. So Benton and Associates responded to our RFQ that was advertised, I believe, for 2 weeks at that point is what the requirement of the grant was, and we received one, and that's the one that we selected.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yeah.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Corn? Yes. Thank you.
Police Committee.
Police Committee, Emergency Service and Police Committee met on January 12th. There was a quorum. We had a lot of guests that day. We had Mike Shempard, Randy Brown, Councilman Bill Farnum, Jordan Light, Dwayne May, Patricia Holton, and Carl Jensen. The meeting was called to order at 3:30. We approved the minutes from previous time, but also we had citizens' comments. Citizens' comments in short. If you want the long version, you can read it at our website, waynesville.gov. But tonight, just to highlight it, we had a citizen that was concerned about a property that was on 314 Historic Route 66 in reference to a gas leak. The citizen's name was Patricia Holden, and the Waynesville Rural Fire Department was unable to locate the driveway of that property, and that was the issue of the complaint. The end result of the initial complaint was that the committee decided at the leading of Mr. Doyle, Mr. Doyle, was that we were going to, our initial response is to educate the first responders with those locations as an initial correction, and then we're going to continue to move forward to look at other ways to help mitigate this from happening, because there's several other homes that's along Route 66 that fall under the same criteria. So we're just going to try to get ahead of that by coming up with a different plan. With that being said, we also had St. Robert Fire Department, Mike Shempard. He stated that the fire inspection started on Monday in the businesses of the city of Waynesville. They divide the city into different zones. Everything was going so far, it was going well, and they got a few re-inspections, but everybody's been receptive to the change. Also, as far as a mass communication system that was introduced, it was initially brought to our attention from the emergency services from the county And there was further research. Mr. Doyle discussed the HyperReach and mass communication system that the city would like to use. Currently, we use Code Red, all those that know. It expires soon and would like to switch over to the HyperSearch, since it has more capabilities and it costs less. So to me, it's a no-brainer. And plus, this will actually be able to be used in many different capacities. Everyone agreed. There was a motion and a second and approval to move it forward to council tonight, which we will also visit after this brief. Pulaski County Sheriff's Department Mutual Aid Agreement has been updated since 2012, and this is an area that Mr. Doyle would like to coordinate to reevaluate the agreement. The police committee, police department updates. Chief Cordova stated that recently Carol Welch was taken to the hospital and she was recovering well. Doesn't know yet when she will return to work, but they went into detail about her issue with that. Special events, we have two that's slated. Both have been mentioned. It is the Ruby Doo 100-year anniversary that is going to be on April 1st, 2023. Stay abreast of that, mark your calendars for that event. Also, the Kids to Park Day, which is in June of 2023. And with that piece, as far as the police support for that, for both of those is going to be warranted, and coordinations, I believe, has already been made for both of those. Other business, Mr. Doyle welcomed the St. Robert Fire Department to the team. He also thanked Chief Cordova for all he does, and Chief Cordova stated that our K-9 unit Bree will be retiring, which we have already went through that retirement today, that ceremony. Also, there was a need for closed session. The motion was made by Mr. Liberty, went into closed session at 4:23 p.m. Councilman Liberty made the motion to return to open session at 4:45. Having no further business, the meeting adjourned at 4:45 p.m. The next meeting is scheduled for February 9th at 3:30 p.m. and all are welcome to visit.
Any other
That's all I
questions
have.
for Mr. Wilson? John, I do have a question. What are we paying now for this, for Code Red?
Roughly $5,000 a year.
And
Approximately.
what is our expected cost for this new one?
It's about $1,400.
What does it do that the other doesn't?
Something that it kind of does, it's nice. So we communicate to people. And
John, have you, Mike,
I don't
I
have,
can't hear you.
I don't have mic. We communicate with people, and when it's a mass communication, it is that can mean a lot of things to different people. Mass communication could be a tornado. Well, you want to identify everybody of that within the city. Thanks, Michelle. You want to identify everybody within the city that, hey, communicate with them, tornado, timing, take shelter, things like that, snowstorms, pending weather. And a text like that would go out to the entire community. But we also have situations that sometimes develop where we don't want to, but we don't want to contact everybody. We just want to contact a portion of people. An example of that would be a water break or a water leak that would require a boil advisory from the city. Well, if that water break or leak didn't affect your particular neighborhood, we don't want to contact everybody in the city. We would just like to draw a circle around the people that it involves, and then that text goes to those people. So the Code Red is really just it is just one text to everybody, and our opinion and discussion with the committee and Chief Cordova is maybe sometimes people become numb to that. They see, oh, there's another water break here, and it's that, and then when it is a text that truly affects them, they may overlook it. It's Code Red, and they ignore it. So what HyperReach does is actually allows you to contact the audience that needs contacted, and not everybody gets the text that if it doesn't pertain to them. So that was one upgrade. Go ahead, Sean.
One other point that I thought was unique was that it is a two-way, it has two-way option. It's not only sending out information, but you can also collect data as well. So that would be an enhancement, especially when we have people that may encounter something, maybe we want to collect data as far as reports and damage assessments. Whenever we have floods, that's one of the main critical pieces as far as finding out what was the footprint that was damaged. So this is one of those systems that actually facilitates that type of service.
How do they have to register for this?
Yeah.
Yes, we actually, there is a registration and deregistration process. We would have to notify Code Red that the city would not be utilizing their services in a given amount of time. Code Red actually expires in the March, April, May timeframe, so we have time to do that. We're bringing this other option to your guys' attention tonight after a couple-month review through the police committee and through Chief Shepard and Chief Cordova as well, and then implementing that. And another way, another thing that I like, or another option or feature that this program provides is, you know, how do you sign up for Code Red? Well, I don't know that a lot of people know. This would allow an option within our website or utility billing to go right out there, and as we sign up new accounts, we would require them to sign up for Code Red through their email, phone, iPhone, if they have that. There's several options in HyperReach that you can do that. Code Red is a mass texting system. This is a mass communication system.
Well, how much of this package, because I see the packet here, there's a lot of things they offer. How much are we actually going to be considering enrolling in or providing for our citizens?
That's, what do you mean as far as?
There's a lot of different options that this company offers. How much or what are we providing for this? You said $1,200, $1,500?
Yeah, so what we're providing for that is the ability to communicate with the citizens that the concern really addresses, instead of all citizens. When we send out a Code Red, we communicate with everybody that currently receives Code Red. This would be, that feature is in this price and is in this quote that you have.
Right. But we can still reach all citizens on it.
If you want, yeah, there's an option there to, you know, hey, we have a tornado, reach everybody that is enrolled in this system. There, yes, for sure.
Okay.
I know Dan uses this a lot in weather advisories. Chief Cordova says, hey, I'm going to send this out. That would go to all users, obviously.
Right.
And it just has a nice feature to communicate with the audience that you need to communicate with.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? We do have an ordinance 2023-02.
First reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into an agreement with HyperReach Emergency Notification Systems, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into an agreement with HyperReach Emergency Notification Systems, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion for this ordinance? Mr. Liberty, second. Mr. Wilson. Any other discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Councilman Corn?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
Finance and Human Resources Committee. Mr. Davis isn't here. Who would like to handle that?
He just pointed at me, so I guess I'm it, so thanks, Ed. Our meeting that I'm going to talk about tonight is from November 10th. Seems like decades ago at this point. Our meeting was called to order. We had a quorum, approved our minutes. We did have two guests, Councilman Sean Wilson and Dwayne May. Committee reviewed the bills. We paid our bills. We discussed cash flow. The committee reviewed the city's cash flow reports, bank account status, and year-to-date budget. The city has completed 100% of the 2022 fiscal year, with expenses ending at 100% and the revenues at 106%. City bank accounts have a total of $6,965,745.05 in restricted funds, reserve funds, and usable monies. We have a presentation of banking agreement with Security Bank of Pulaski County. The committee reviewed the agreement for banking services provided by Security Bank of Pulaski County that would be effective February 1st, 2023. The agreement includes a rate structure that is 1% below the DGS3 rate, adjusted quarterly. At no time the rate would be allowed below 2% APY.
Motion was made by Councilman Davis to prepare an ordinance to enter into the banking agreement with Security Bank of Pulaski County to the City Council for final approval. We discussed Series 2021 COP Draw Number 1. Mrs. Boggs presented a summary of the projects submitted for Draw 1 on the Series 2021 COP. A total of $1,128,020.67 was drawn down for 2022 street paving, electrical, substation engineering, electric infrastructure, water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure, and natural gas infrastructure. Invoices included in this draw were dated from June 2021 to December of 2022. ARPA projects monthly update. Mrs. Boggs stated that construction is nearly complete at the Ruby Dew RV Park. Once the new spaces are ready, the long-term residents on the Ruby Dew Spring side will be relocated so that tree clearing can begin. This project was prioritized due to the city insurance company's risk assessment of the RV park. The next projects will be the animal shelter renovation and the upgrades at the leaf and limb dump. We discussed the recreational marijuana tax. The committee began discussions on the option to add a marijuana tax to the ballot in April 2024. The state of Missouri has released information regarding the sales tax, and municipalities can allow voters to decide on up to a 3% tax. This would not directly affect the city of Waynesville at this time due to not having a dispensary in the city. The tax would only affect those who are purchasing recreational marijuana at retail and would not be collected from wholesalers. Councilman Davis feels it would be good to have this in place, but to earmark the funds for a specific department. Several departments were discussed to include emergency services. Committee will continue discussions moving forward. Human Resources discussion on Amendment 3, recreational marijuana. Mr. Doyle stated that the passing of Amendment 3 has complicated the existing drug policy in the personnel manual. The city has employees with several different certificates and licenses, and this affects each differently. Employees with state licenses who test positive but are not impaired will be okay. However, employees with federal licenses who test positive will be subject to loss of their license. City supervisors have been trained and certified on reasonable suspicion, and the city will continue to research ways to address this situation moving forward. In other business, we discussed the audit. KPM CPAs and advisors, the preliminary audit will take place on January 31st, 2023, with the full audit to begin March 13th and conclude March 17th, 2023. Mr. Doyle stated the need for closed session. We went into closed session at 5:36. We returned out of closed session at 5:54, and with no other business, the committee adjourned at 5:54. Our next meeting will be held February 9th at 5 p.m.
Is there any questions for Councilwoman Corn? We do have an ordinance 2023-03.
First reading, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a, Mr. Rice?
I will make a motion.
Councilwoman Corn, any other further discussion? Vote, please.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Corn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we had no meeting at the Waynesville St. Robert Joint Airport Board, so any other business, John?
No, sir.
City Administrator's report.
So we ended the year last year with a kind of end-of-year review, so I thought how appropriate to start the year this year with, let's look forward to projects and tasks that we hopeful to complete during the year. Goals for 2023. I have a goal for continuing developing and building the city GIS mapping. This would include the development of natural gas mapping and mapping the existing infrastructure for natural gas, which was one utility from last year that was not mapped. As you guys have seen, the other utilities were mapped. There's also a goal for sidewalk mapping. Sidewalk mapping will begin a documented sidewalk repair and maintenance program for the city. Stormwater conveyance and piping mapping. This would include the potential to add a 100-year flood map to the GIS system, as well as stormwater inlet and piping. And then continue existing map system updates. This would include any new services or replacements of old services meters for the sewer, water, and electric distribution system. The City of Waynesville Subdivision Improvement Program, very busy in that program, and we look to work very hard in the first 6 months to evaluate where we are in that program, to hopefully reopen that by mid-year for additional residential subdivisions to take advantage of that program. Again, as it stands currently, we need to clean out the queue of projects that are in there prior to adding more to it, and we have a considerable amount of work in that program right now. Implementing a tantalus metering program. This is the first time I think that we are looking at utilizing a metering program that would read meters real time and allow for water breaks to be detected within City Hall without waiting on somebody to get their water bill or somebody to call us. We're able to hopefully monitor these situations real time from City Hall, and hopefully reduce the response time that it takes to find and correct these problems, and hopefully decrease the cost to the users or the citizens of Waynesville. Personnel training. I know this year we're looking at a lot of training for our personnel. We have supervisory training to include safety, employee retention, team management, employee development, leadership development, conflict resolutions, and as always, each year we do license and certification development hours. And then staff training, again, safety, team working, license, certification development hours, bystander intervention, workplace harassment, team collaboration, customer service, accountability. Additional courses would be including our employees to, and encouraging our employees opportunities in Microsoft Office and report writing. Upcoming events. Our park's very busy. It's a great place to host an event if you're planning an event. I would encourage you to get your event form into the city as soon as possible. Dates fill up. We went through, right now, the Ruby Doo Bridge 100-year anniversary is April 1st, alternate date April 15th, but we have Kids to Park Day June 3rd, Cave State Cruisers June 23rd, Old Settlers Day July 29th through 30th, Patriots Day, which was very well attended last year, September 10th, Route 66 Hogs and Frogs September 22nd through 24th, October 28th would be Pumpkin Fest, and Veterans Day Parade this year will be hosted in St. Robert, but we are always instrumental in that parade. And then in ending, this is not in my report, but it's something that I think is, we talked about the police department setting itself as an example to the surrounding communities. I think that our citizens also separate us from surrounding communities. So I'd like to talk to that a little bit. The Waynesville St. Robert Area Chamber of Commerce is preparing for its annual Citizen of the Year Award. This event will be held on Friday, February 17th at the Arc and Sports Center beginning at 6 p.m. This year's nominees for Citizen of the Year include two very distinguished women from the city of Waynesville. I would like to take this opportunity to very briefly summarize a small portion of their dedication to the community and willingness to volunteer their time and efforts to the city of Waynesville and the greater Pulaski County region and making it a better place to live. One of the nominees is a lady named Janice Wilson. She had a greater than 20-year active service military career before retiring as a sergeant first class in 2009. She served as a Waynesville St. Robert Chamber of Commerce ambassador for 6 years and receiving the Ambassador 2018 Goodwill Spirit Award. She has been a part of Leadership Pulaski County and was a Class 5 graduate and president, and has since served as a Leadership Pulaski County alumni president. She is a supporter of the annual Back to School prayer walks, Feed the Children, and Back to School extravaganza. She has volunteered with Fort Wood Community Spouses Club as secretary and scholarship outreach. She has served as secretary, scholarship chair, retiree representative, and now chairperson of the Fort Leonard or FLW Thrift Shop. Along with many, many other accomplishments, she is the mother of 2 successful children and the wife of Sean Wilson for over 23 years, which may be one of her biggest accomplishments. Teasing, Sean. Teasing. Very distinguished lady, very intelligent lady, master's degree, great singer, incredible voice, very proud. Another nominee is also Luge Hardman. Luge is a retired school teacher with 30 years of service to the Waynesville School District, chairwoman of the Waynesville Planning and Zoning Commission, served on the Waynesville Park Board, and eventually became chairwoman of that board while gaining national recognition as Small Park Board of the Year in 2006. She is a former City of Waynesville council member, serving 9 years in that capacity. Accomplishments during that time including downtown beautification project, walking trails, sidewalks, Trail of Tears, exhibits, and much more. She left the seat of council to serve as mayor in the city of Waynesville in 2012 and served in this capacity for 8 years. While serving as mayor, she was able to accomplish several key tasks and projects for the city, enabling future administrations the ability for growth and creating positive relationships with numerous stakeholders valuable to the city. She is an author and currently serves as a governor appointee to the Missouri Route 66 Centennial Commission. I would also like to mention the final nominated candidate of Cheryl Newcomb Rigsby. I would ask all to please make plans to attend the event. Congratulations and good luck to all the nominees.
Thank you, John. Council comments. Let's start with Councilwoman Corn.
Well, I want to say, yeah, congratulations, Citizen of the Year. That's pretty awesome. I also want to send positive thoughts to Amber Fox as she goes into audit season. We're sending you positive vibes, and hopefully this next quarter is not too strenuous on you. I am looking forward to a wonderful year with everybody. I think that Waynesville is going to be doing great things. So I'm excited to be along for the ride. Thank you all again at the city for doing everything you can to make us look good up here. And yeah, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
A little late for the Happy New Year. When I first one to speak, how do you get around that? I would like to thank the city
Ed,
staff.
I'll start with you next time.
The workers this city has, both in the offices and in the field, can't be touched by anybody else. They are what makes this city as good as it can be.
Mr. Liberty.
Copy what I've said numerous times.
Somebody has to.
Just say ditto.
Thank you all to all the city employees for everything you do, the sacrifices you've made, to include the outstanding staff that our excellent city administrator had. Thank you all.
Mr. Rice.
Yes. Recently, there was a $50,000 donation to the Waynesville High School Scholarship Foundation. This is the largest endowment that they've ever had. It was from the Lorraine Rigsby Memorial Scholarship Fund. Remember back in November of 2021, we celebrated her birthday here, her 100th birthday. We mentioned that she was a former mayor of Waynesville and listed all kinds of organizations she belonged to and all kinds of accomplishments she had. Sadly, we lost her on July 11th of 2022. She was a longtime Waynesville resident and will be truly missed. But her Waynesville High School Scholarship Foundation will live on, and just kind of wanted to update everybody where that's. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Mr. Wilson?
Just a couple of things. Thanks, John, for congratulating my wife on those achievements. Very busy household. The next thing I'll say is we also have a business within our city that was nominated, and it is this Waynesville Senior Center. So that's another one that has been recognized for this. So make your way out for that. We have I mentioned about the Kids to Park Day. The event is going to be June 3rd, but tomorrow at 12 noon there will be a coordination meeting for those that can make it. Anybody that's interested in making that meeting, you can just call 1-312-626-6799. If you're not familiar with Zoom, I had several people that were not familiar with Zoom, but it is a Zoom meeting. So I would just encourage you to go to look up the Kids to Park Day. You can find the code, and you can go and you can find out a little bit more information about that. And that's all I have. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Farnham?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Well, many of us probably decorate our houses and our plants and our yards with flowers and plants. It's with kind of a sadness that I bring up that Kenny Ziegenbein has retired after 34 years of business in the city of Waynesville. And I am really wishing Kenny that well in the next chapter of his life. Now, Rick Ringer has taken over, so we can still buy the flowers and plants, the trees and everything else. And I'm sure he'll provide the same excellent service that Kenny has given us over the last 34 years. I'm wishing Kenny very well in the next chapter of his life so he can spend it with his family and his farm. I also wish Mr. Ringer continued success. Adjourned.